Hey, good morning, everybody. I just wanted to get started today by getting out in the environment. We're talking about going after people today, chapter 7 of building a disciple making ministry. So I thought I would get out in the elements this morning and go over just a little preview for you to encourage you to be reading through chapter 7. It's written today by Allan Taylor. He's a former football coach and a former education minister at Woodstock Baptist Church. Taylor quotes Arthur Flake as saying, Flake was like a fiery football coach, admonishing the leaders to prepare for the Sunday school to go into action to reach people. He said, it's time to stop quibbling and dilly-dallying and get out into the homes and the places of businesses and urge people to join Sunday school and attend services of worship. Every Sunday school should observe a regular visitation program, Taylor says. Nothing else will take its place. That's not only spoken true in Flake's day, but it's just as true today. This is the final step of Flake's formula. And so Taylor writes this, that the purpose of Flake's previous 4 steps was to set up the 5th and final step. Reaching people is the first 4 steps is to prepare the church about how the people can receive. But these steps, Taylor writes, are unnecessary if the 5th step of reaching people is not met. Churches who have practiced all 5 steps have found Sunday school to be vibrant, growing, and effective in reaching new people. Flake's formula puts the church in a position to be more aggressive about evangelism. I want to just jump in here real quick and just tell you a personal story that happened the other day. Many of y'all know I'm living in an RV park, and a guy behind me was named Jack. He helped me out whenever we first moved in, setting up the trailer, and then he moved away. He went out with his wife. He's a retired person, helping to get his father's ranch sold and then move out to Arizona. But he was out and then came back the other day, and I'm walking around and I see him, and he asked me a question. He says, what do you do for a living? And I said, well, I'm an associate pastor at First Baptist Church. And he says, well, you don't look like a minister. And at first I didn't know if to take that as a positive or negative. And I said, well, yeah, I am. Been so for this church for 11 years. Sorry about the noise. But then he said, I said, well, what would you think I would be? He said, I don't know, a computer programmer or something. He said, but I got a question for you. And so he sat down and he said, do you know anything about chain? And I said, chain. And I was thinking computer programming. I was thinking blockchain or Bitcoin. I said, you mean like blockchain or Bitcoin or investment or what? He said, no, chain like link chain, chains with links. I said, a regular chain. I said, yeah, and not knowing really where he was going. And he said, well, chains can be pretty heavy. And I said, yeah, they can be. He said, and doesn't it make sense if the more chain links that you put on a chain, the heavier it gets? By this time, I realized he was going somewhere with a purpose. So I sat down beside him. I said, yeah, they get pretty heavy. He said, you can put an elephant on a chain, and you can add more and more links to it. And that elephant pretty soon won't be able to move that chain. In fact, he won't even try. And little by little, you can knock off a chain at a time. And pretty soon, that elephant will still stay there because he's so adapted to that heavy chain, he won't even try to pull it. Now, I've heard this illustration a little bit different that way, but I'll let him keep going. And he said, well, my opinion, Tim, he said, that's the way it is with the Christian life. That we're born with this chain, heavy chain that keeps us trapped with sin. And he said, Jesus comes and he breaks the link off of the heaviness of chains. And yet some people still are weighted down with their sins, and they don't realize that Jesus has broken every chain, every link. Sometimes it's good to get out among people and just listen to them. And I started thinking about different sins that I struggle with. Then I started thinking about evangelism. That a lot of people are linked with this chain of fear, of not wanting to share the gospel with people. And how Jesus breaks our chain. And I don't even want a collar around my neck from the sin of not telling people or the sins that often weigh me down. I want every chain to be broken, every link to be popped off. And I think that's what Jack was trying to tell me as a purpose of what Christ came from. And I want to tell that to you because that's why evangelism is so needed in our Sunday schools today. We need to break the link of silence. We need to break the link of not telling people, not reaching people, not going after people. Because when we go after people, it's more than just teaching the life of Bible study. It's living the Bible study. So Taylor lists different ways that evangelism should be used in our Sunday school. Number one, I've said this before, Sunday school is our largest organized part of our church, bigger than the choir. More than 400 people come every Sunday to be a part of Sunday school. About 82% of all people that are in worship service are in some type of Sunday school. Number two, Sunday school meets at prime time. For our church, we don't have small groups that meet at homes. We have one or two. But mainly our strategy is to go through Sunday school right at before or after worship service, Sunday morning, whenever everybody thinks we should be in church. Number three, Sunday school is age graded. And Taylor asked these questions. Who in the church will be most effective at reaching millennials? Millennials. Who in the church is most effective at reaching baby boomers? You got it, baby boomers. Who in the church is most effective reaching high schoolers? You guessed it, high schoolers. Sunday school is age graded, but it's also for all ages. It's not just for children anymore, never has been. Maybe it did begin with children, but it's for everybody. And then number five, Sunday school assimilates new people. We will reach, and can we reach and keep people? And it's through relationships. And if we don't reach people, we don't know, and we seldom reach people that we barely know. We have to reach people once we develop a relationship with them. And you don't get that by sitting in church and looking aside to both sides of your congregation. No, it's through the small groups. Number six, Sunday school should be an open group. Now, let me emphasize this. The hardest time to attend church is the first time. And so it is with Sunday school. The most difficult time for people to attend your class is the first time. But in big church, Taylor says, we can hide. We can blend in with the crowd, but you can't do that in a small group. Don't be a closed group. Don't be a clique. Reach people. When you challenge your class to reach out to people, it makes the class not want to be a clique. And they say, well, where can we find people? Go to the worship service. Look for people who are like you and just ask them, are you involved in a life group? Are you involved in Sunday school? And if they are, then great. Say, well, good. Why don't you help me go out in this congregation and reach some more people? Number seven, Sunday school affords everyone an opportunity to get involved. Let me say it again. Sunday school affords everyone an opportunity to get involved. Everyone in your class can and should be involved in winning people. Then Taylor writes about 6 essentials for evangelistic Sunday school. An evangelistic Sunday school must have an example of an evangelistic pastor. Leading by example is the greatest form of leadership, and the challenge of pastoring has really never been more difficult or more stressful. Pastors, above all, should be in activities that are focused on seeing people get saved. If you ask Randy, what is the mission of our church? He'll say, to seek and to save those who are lost. It's really encouraging for me as we went out like we did last night to see nearly a dozen people coming out on visitation, 3 of them being teachers. Many of them bringing their own people, actually 4 of them being teachers. It's even more encouraging whenever I hear about your class leading others to the Lord. Number 2, evangelistic Sunday school must have clearly defined visions for evangelism. We have to keep the main thing, Taylor says. And here are some verses to encourage us. John 3:17 says, for God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. As I mentioned earlier, Luke 19, verse 10 says, the Son of Man came to seek and to save the lost. If that's a good mission statement for Jesus, and it should be for our Sunday school classes as well. Jesus also says in John 4:34, my food is to do the will of him who sent me and to finish the work of salvation. He said that in the context of winning the woman at the well to the Lord. Another verse is John 10:10, I have come that they might have life and might have it in abundance. Whenever we think of that verse in context, it says that the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Isn't it great that we have good news we can tell people? In Jesus' high priestly prayer found in John 14:7 or 17:4, it says, I have glorified you by completing the work you gave me to do. I want to ask you, what is the work that God has chosen you to do as Sunday school leader? Have you finished it? Whenever you finished it, then our time on earth is done. But as long as you're here, it's not finished. Jesus said right before his death, it is finished. And that's the only time we can ever say that is accomplished for us reaching people. And we need to say, God, you're here, I'm here, and you're here. We need to finish the work. Number 3 is an evangelistic Sunday school must enlist teachers and leaders to align with the vision. Coach Taylor said, how can we expect to move the evangelistic football down the field when the quarterback won't call the play? Show me an evangelistic Sunday school group, and I will show you an evangelistic group leader. How do we build an evangelistic Sunday school? One group at a time. How do we build evangelistic groups? One leader at a time. Number 4, an evangelistic Sunday school must have outreach leaders. Your class has to have prayer, yes, but outreach, inreach, need meeting, and teaching. If outreach is important to the church, then the church needs outreach leaders. Someone has to lead the charge in your class to organize the effort, to execute the details. Then Taylor says this, every adult group and every preschool, children, and student ministry should have an outreach leader if they're serious about going after people. Think about it. What if your class member says, I can't be the outreach leader, or if you already have one, but they could be and volunteer in their child's class or in their teen's class. Be the outreach leader. Then he goes on and he has some descriptions about what a outreach leader would be. You can see that in your book, and just go down the list. And then number 5, evangelistic Sunday school must have prospects. He lists a number of ways on page 81, 10 different ways to get new Sunday school prospects. But I'm going to give you one more. We've just enrolled through Outreach for a new movers list. Now, they may be moving from Harker Heights to Killeen or vice versa. Maybe somebody who's moved back into town, like a person that I met the other day. But we need to be looking for prospects. He gives you 10 ways, and I have an 11th, and that is our new movers moving into our area. Number 6, an evangelistic Sunday school must be intentional in its outreach strategy. We've kind of mentioned that before, but we have to be intentional. We have to be purposeful. We have to be strategic. We have to be resolved. We have to be decisive, and we have to be focused, and we have to be determined, and we need to be intentional, again, about evangelism. Taylor talks about MTV, and he's not talking about the cable channel, so look at that. But he concludes with this, to go after people was the chief aim of Jesus, and it's the chief aim of the early church. It's the chief aim of our church, and it has to be the chief aim of your Sunday school. Jesus' mission to this world was to win souls. That was the purpose of his coming. The Apostle Paul said, Christ came into the world to save sinners. And shouldn't that be the aim of our Sunday schools, of your life group, to have this as our supreme aim? Let's do what the final words of this chapter says. May we too go after people. Thanks a lot for watching. I wanted to say, not only is this the world, but turn around here. You can see that the world has come to Killeen. There are people all over the place. And I find it very exciting to be where I'm at right now. Sunday nights I teach a Bible study, and it's just a blessing to be out here to walk around. And whenever I see people, I hope they may not see me as a minister or computer programmer like Jack did, but I hope they see me as a loving, caring person who cares about souls. And I hope they see that with you as well. God bless you.